What I'm about to do could be classed as quite dangerous. Judging by the title of this video, you already know what I'm going to do. This floor that I showed in in one of the previous videos, it's not confirmed, but like 95% sure it's asbestos. So it needs to come up because we've got work to do with this floor, and I'll show you that in a minute. I can legally remove this because it is non-notifiable. It's quite a low grade of asbestos, if it is asbestos, and the HSE states that I can remove this without notifying the appropriate people. I don't have to get people in, providing I wear the correct PPE, which obviously I'm going to do, and again I'm going to show you that in a minute. But I'd just like to say, don't do this unless, one, you're confident, two, you have the right equipment, and that's probably the main thing really. You've got to be confident in what you're doing and be safe. And being safe is the number one thing here. So yeah, I'm just going to read to you on the HSE website. So I'll put this up on the screen. Floor tiles, textiles and composites, where do you find these? Asbestos floor tiles were once a popular choice for flooring, and you will often find old asbestos floor tiles hidden under carpets, which we have here. Textiles can be found in fuse boxes behind the actual fuse. All fire blankets, heat resistant gloves can also be made out of asbestos textiles. Asbestos composite can be toilet cisterns, seats, windowsills and bath panels. Asbestos paper was used for lining under tiles and inside metal cladding. Basically, back before asbestos was banned, they used it everywhere, and I mean everywhere. Even to a point they used to use it in children's toys. Believe it or not, it's everywhere. And this house is 1971, so it makes sense that this floor would have it. Asbestos containing vinyl floor tiles. Now this is the important bit. How dangerous are these? Work on any type of asbestos can be dangerous. However, tasks on these particular materials can be carried out by non-licensed workers who are appropriately trained. Work on these materials will not normally be notifiable provided that the material is in good condition. If the work is likely to cause significant breakup and deterioration of the material, then notification would be required. Asbestos essentials include a number of task sheets which will show you how to safely carry out non-licensed work on these materials. So I'll link the HSE website. If you have a job like this, you may be able to do it yourself, but it's always best to double check. We haven't had this tested, but common sense would tell you that this is asbestos. Right, so here we are. Now I think it was the first video when I did the before tour, I stupidly, and I should have known better, and I'm recording this before I post that video, so people are already screaming at me. I can imagine that this is asbestos. You saw me, and again, it was just so stupid of me. I shouldn't have done it. Probably the excitement of the house, and I just wasn't thinking. I was picking bits up and sort of breaking them up. I should not have done that. The chance of me being affected by this, bearing in mind that asbestosis, you don't sort of see the signs of it until like 20 years down the line, maybe more. But the chance of me breathing these fibres in from just doing that is very, very small, because the amount of asbestos in them is quite low, and there's like different grades of asbestos, and it is quite low. It's still dangerous. Don't take away the fact that this is still dangerous. In its current form, it's fine, and that's why they've gone over it with a carpet. But yeah, I should have known better. and well, I suppose it is what it is now. But yeah, I've cleared all the rooms out. That's got it. We're pretty sure it goes under the kitchen, but we're not actually doing anything in there for now. So when we do eventually go in there, I'd have to take that bit up. But it's coming up in the dining room, the front hall, and obviously the living room. The HSE advises you not to use like power tools to break it up, because that creates dust and breaks it up. So they advise you to use, let me just move that out of the way. They advise you to use, ideally, floor scraper for large areas or a little scraper. Now, if they are becoming quite stuck, and I'll find out, it says just to tap the scraper with a hammer. I feel like if I tap this with a hammer, it might break. So I've got an old chisel. It's still quite sharp. I have sharpened it before, and I'll just give it a little tap with a lump hammer, and this should come up. Obviously, I'm going to wear full PPE. I've got I'll show you them actually. I've got a suit, mask. I'm going to change to my own boots. Don't want to get any fibres on my trainers. So here we are. This is what I'll be wearing. It says it there, ideal for asbestos removal. So I'm in the house on my own. I didn't want Holly to be here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open all the windows to get some ventilation out throughout the house. So if there is any particles, they'll escape. Now you probably think, well, you're just going to affect somebody outside. I'm quite lucky today. It's raining, and it's raining quite heavy, so any particles will just get dampened down, and then it's just like dust. There's a lot of things in renovations and in construction, things that can harm your health. Wood, MDF, that is, I think it's banned in America. I'm not quite sure. That just tells you how deadly it is. We use that stuff over here like it's going out of fashion. Blocks, cutting blocks, silica dust, that's probably going to be the next, like asbestos. So we've got to take these things seriously, and I'm taking this quite seriously. Like I say, it's non-notifiable, so I don't have to notify the HSE that I'm doing this. I've just got to be sensible. Now, I wasn't sensible to start with picking that bit up and breaking it. Obviously, you kind of learn from your mistakes, and admittedly, it was stupid of me to do that. So that's where we are. You've probably already seen I've taped the door up in here to stop anything going into the kitchen. I'm going to do the same the other side on the other door, and then because this is the sort of the room that we're living in, we're cooking meals and everything in here. So tape the bottom. I'm going to tape this door up, and then I'll go through the back door and come back through the front. And yeah, we'll just see. Hopefully they come up in full tiles, and then there isn't that breaking up of them. Obviously there's bits around the edges that have already been broke, and then once I've got it all up, sweep everything up. Try not to create dust. The main thing here is that I don't create dust, because the dust is the problem. So I'm going to use the hoover, put a new bag in it, new filter, and then once it's done, all that'll get changed and everything will get cleaned down. Cover the carpets up because we're saving those. They'll all get hoovered down. Those dust sheets will go. Just try and be as careful as we can. So yeah, I'll get started. Ready to go? Right, I hope the cameras are flicking too bad because of the light. It's getting dark, obviously autumn. I've got all the windows open. I'm going to start here because there's already a little bit that's come up. I didn't do this bit. It must have already been like this before the carpet was laid. So if I figure out if I start here, it'll just make it easy for when I do the rest of the room, hopefully with a big scraper. So we'll try the little scraper first. Now it is breaking, but it's not. This is why I'm wearing a mask, just because it's quite brittle, so it probably is going to break. It's actually coming up a lot easier than I thought. Right, I've got it started. Now that black stuff there is the adhesive that they use to put it down. Again, it could probably contain asbestos, but that is stuck to the screen, and there ain't no way of getting that one. You'd have to take the screen up. So as it is, that's fine. Sweep it, hoover it especially, and it should be fine now. Right, let's you can see all these little loose bits here. So what I do, I'll just have to scrape all into a pile. Now I want ideally I want it coming in chunks like this. Let's try the big floor scraper. Yes. That's just the dust off the scraper. It's just got gobble on it from, obviously from work. Right, so now I'm going to show you what to do when you've got quite a bit up. You need to dispose of it properly, and the process of doing that is to double bag it in like a thick polythene. I'm just going to use like what you get sand in and stuff. It is quite thick. It is, for this it's alright. So to get it into the bag. This bag isn't that full, but just for the video, I'll show you what you're supposed to do. So you want some duct tape. Fold it over. Get all the air out. Now the reason we double bag it just in case it punctures it. Get some more. Just do that. So that one's taped up, and then what we do is put it in another bag. Tape that up as well. I'll just fold it shut first. Fold like that. Rip another book. It's really sticky, this stuff. And there you go. It's now double bagged. That's safe. You could handle that without gloves, without a mask. That's pretty much it. And you have to dispose of it legally. You can't just put it in the bin, you can't throw it in the skip. You get somebody licensed to take it away, or you'd have to check with your local area council. You can take it to a recycling centre, which is probably what we'll do. But yeah, that is the process on removing these tiles. And remember, you don't have to notify HSE, but you do have to be confident and competent. That's the main thing. You've got to be competent in what you're doing. I believe I'm competent in what I'm doing. You know, I've took the necessary precautions, PPE, bagging it up, double bagging it, using the correct tools. So yeah, it's not for the faint-hearted. This is absolutely red hot, but I'd rather be safe. Yeah, I'm going to crack on. Quite a lot to do. I think what I'll do now is I'll just put the camera somewhere and I'll just get the whole lot up, and then I'll just have a session bagging it up. But I just want to show you that, because that's the process. And there we go. All the tiles are removed. Now if I sound muffly, it's because I've still got my PPE on, because I've got to do another hoover, but I think that bag's full, so I'm going to swap that bag out, change to a new one, and then obviously do away with that. But yeah, everything's done. Took about 4 to 5 hours. I'd say I've still got a little bit of hoovering up to do. But yeah, in here, remove the carpets and cover them back up. And this is everything we've collected. 14 bags, which is more than I thought. Now I've got to dispose of those legally and by the proper means. So I think we'll just book a slot at the local recycling centre. You can take them there instead of paying an absolute fortune for someone to take them away. You can actually take them to a recycling, well, some recycling centres anyway. Not you have to check on their website wherever you're going. But there we go. It's not a nice job to do. I mean, I'm in this. I'm absolutely red hot. But I'd rather be safe and healthy than not, basically. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to say that's how you take up a floor with the final floor tiles, because they did break up, but I mean, especially around here, I mean, you can see where it's actually pulled part of the adhesive up with the screen. For some reason this area, there's like little bits down there and here, but this area seemed to be quite stuck. The easiest area was, I believe, the hallway. That come up. Most of those come up in full tiles, by where it had cracked here. That come up quite easy. So yeah, it might have not been the professional method, but I needed to get it done sharpish because we've got to move on in this room. That's why I'm doing it on a night on my own. Everything's taped up in the house, just trying to minimise any exposure, although it'll be limited. So yeah, that's how I've done it anyway. It might be right, it might be wrong, but I think I've took the necessary steps to protect myself and try and minimise the risk.